Hey guys, you loved my video about Disneyland in Tokyo, and so I decided that I'm going to visit Disneyland in Paris. And disclaimer, I really don't know much about it other than it seems that most people don't favor this park, including in real life, people that I've talked to and people on the internet. So I'm setting out to see exactly what it's like in person and if the not so great reviews are even accurate. What are you most looking forward to?
I'm more of a ride person, I guess. I mean, okay, here, want to restart it?
No.
Okay, it's rides. I like rides. What do you like most? Or I like rides and theming. What's your thing?
I liked the Disney restaurants a lot and the theming for sure. But already, like, we haven't been in the park. We're about to take the shuttle. So Disney Paris is about 40 minutes from actual, downtown Paris or whatever where we were staying. And so far, you've already downloaded the app and you've seen some differences that you like more.
Yes. Well, I think the app is the best app. Oddly enough, Tokyo Disney is my favorite Disney we've been to.
So far, we don't know.
So far. And I think Tokyo Disney actually has the worst app. But this is the best app. And I'm having a feeling that it is going to be the least app intensive of any of the parks, which I'm looking forward to too. I don't really like being on my phone the entire time I'm at Disney.
However, disclaimer, it's the most expensive Disney experience we'll ever have.
Yeah, this is the most expensive so far. We did that to ourselves a little bit, but we'll break down the numbers more. This will be one of my favorite Disneys by far if they can make it so that I'm not constantly on my phone. And, I remember back when we were kids, you would navigate the park through street signs and through physical maps. That's just, I don't even know if they have any physical maps anymore. Everything's done through the phone. Disney's so app integrated that you sort of have to have a smartphone, and I think that takes away some of the magic of it.
Some immediate differences right off the bat. Driving to Disneyland in Paris, you'd hardly know that you were getting close. And even once you're there, the Disney Village isn't nearly as built out and glamorous of that in Orlando or Anaheim. Now, I understand there's a lot of construction going on in the village and also at the park, but it was a bit disappointing. So while I wasn't terribly impressed with the village, we did rely on going there to eat lunch since all the restaurants in the park were booked. Yes, if you try to go to Disneyland Paris, you better book your restaurant way ahead of time. Unfortunately, most Disney food I cannot get enough of, but this diner that we went to was rather underwhelming. The menu looked better than the food tasted, but let's get into the park.
So we're gonna hit up Walt Disney Studios first, and then we're gonna finish in Disneyland. But so far security was super easy.
Also, disclaimer, you can totally do both parks in one day. When we went to Tokyo Disney, it made more sense for us to do Disney Sea and Disneyland on separate days, but Disney in Paris is quite small compared to other parks, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have its own unique stuff to offer.
I'm also so proud of myself for remembering my ears and my backpack. Okay, so today we're starting in Walt Disney Studios. This was built in 2002, so 10 years after Disneyland Paris opened, and right now we are going on the Spider-Man ride. So this is us in the Premier Access line for the Web Slinger. So I get motion sick really easily. I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm already nervous.
I like physical rides, and this one's like you're watching a movie. And the whole motion capture thing, I mean, even when it comes to Buzz Lightyear rides, they aren't really my thing.
But you can tell me I won.
What?
But I did win.
You did win.
Okay, so how did I like it? It's kind of funny because I didn't feel motion sick at all, which I was really expecting to. So I was really happy about that. And I had a different shooting technique. You kind of were like doing it the official way. I was just like pew-pewing, so I don't know, I felt like it was easier to get a high score than in like the Buzz Lightyear Star Wars stuff. This has a very bad reputation online. Like, people are saying this is a joke, and I actually really liked it. So we have very different opinions on it.
Well, turns out I didn't really need to be nervous for that humdinger of a ride, the Spider-Man ride. But up next, we decided to try the Avengers roller coaster, and I did not take my motion sickness medication because I did not have a good reaction to it last time. It was definitely a thrilling ride.
Luke,
I am your father. Oh, wait, no, that's definitely not what he's saying. That's the wrong set.
So premium probably saved us like 20 minutes, but not the whole thing.
I was hesitating on this one because, as you can see, there are signs, even though they're in French, about, hey, if you have motion sickness, you might feel it on this one. But I seem to do better with rides that are just like roller coasters with a forward track versus these rides that I feel like I'm seeing pop up everywhere with big screens and moving chairs.
What did you think?
It's a very good ride. I like that ride a lot. I like how it is a coaster. It's a good ride. I was very pleasantly surprised.
Dude, did you notice that I was completely quiet? I didn't really feel sick because it was short enough, but actually, the launch it felt like I was in a Tesla on Plaid. It took my breath away, and I was trying to get my heart rate down. It was really scary more than anything. It was way more scary than any sickness. Kind of reminded me of Space Mountain a little bit.
I think it's way better than Space Mountain.
Why?
Well, Space Mountain is, and particularly in Anaheim, Space Mountain is it's boring. There's no loops. It's just, you just go in circles, essentially.
And you do a loop immediately.
Yeah, you do a loop, you have a great launch, you have a lot of stuff in this one. I'm not big into Spider-Man, and I'm not big into the Avengers.
Yeah.
And it's what I loved about Disney Sea was what the hell is Disney Sea?
Yeah, right.
It was very strange in the sense that it was like a whole different world. Journey to the center of the earth. I don't have any preconceived notions on that one, and so it was very interesting. And so, it's kind of in some ways I wonder, would this ride be better if it wasn't like Space Mountain where everything's dark?
Yeah, right.
I kind of like seeing things. That's what I loved about. What's that one that's in?
Well, and it was dark, and then there were some projection or screens, and I was like, oh, I hate the screens.
Yeah, I hate the screens. I hate the screens. I hate any 3D stuff. Disney, the zoo. What's the zoo one called?
Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom. I love the ride in that one because it's such a real ride. It's so there's no screens. There's just a big Yeti.
Yeah, right.
And
I didn't know that this one. I thought it was going to be like the Finding Nemo one, where we're just stationary in a car and it's shaking around, which I didn't want to do. I'm glad I went on it. I was terrified because the motion sickness is really bad. It'll ruin 30 minutes of your day, and it sucks. And so I didn't actually I was able to keep it together, but I kept telling myself if I can do 0G, I can do this.
Right. Well, and that's my thing too, and it's it's the same thing that goes on with a lot of this tech stuff is it's not advanced, it's just cheap. And you can think about it too, each time there's a screen, that's where an animatronic could be, but animatronics are so much more expensive. And so the whole screens and plus I'm seeing Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel and Iron Man, and I'm just I don't care. I don't know. It doesn't hit me the same way.
Well, maybe we need to go to Disneyland. So I'm walking around because as much as I want to do the Tower of Terror, Okay, so this is interesting. This looked like it was going to, see, the people behind me also got confused. This looked like it was going to be open and connect, but everyone's getting confused. They're coming back here, so, but anyway, as I was saying, I think Tower of Terror would for sure, with the the drops, make me feel sick. But very proud of myself for going on Avengers. That one didn't really make me feel sick as much as it made me feel scared out of my mind. But I kept telling myself, just think of it like you're launching on a rocket. So unfortunately, too, there's a ton of construction. Even with this, just don't really like the layout. I'm so glad I found one of these actual stores, not just a little cart or something. We're still at Walt Disney Studios, but these are very few and far between. So it's nice to just have a place where you can get your merchandise.
When was the last time when did I go on this? Was that Tokyo? I think it was Tokyo.
I think so, because they don't have this anymore.
I think they have it in California Adventure.
No, they got rid of it.
Oh, it's gone?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm almost positive.
Yes, upon further research, because I haven't been to Disney's California Adventure in a very long time, the Tower of Terror closed in 2017 for a Guardians of the Galaxy themed ride, but it still has the drops that many of you know and love. It is just not the Tower of Terror anymore. So TLDR, still a drop ride like the Tower of Terror, but with different theming.
It's not called Tower of Terror, it's called the Hollywood Tower Hotel, but How was it?
I actually liked it more than the Tokyo one. It's much rougher. It's much rougher. You're going through a lot of launches and a lot of drops, and there's just really cool special effects with like the mirrors and stuff they use, and it's very corny. It feels like a horror movie made in the 30s. I mean, it's very corny, but it's so corny, it's charming. The theming in there was really good once you got inside it. I really like theming around the lines, and so I really like that. I will say I did get a video, and before you go into like the next line, you wait in line to get in line. There's like these cool things and like this theming and stuff, and I saw this little sign, so I walked up to it, and it was like, you can buy this at the gift shop. You Disney. You.
Is this a bad time to tell you I spent $40 on magnets?
No, that's fine. Magnets, okay. Okay. It's the same setup as the other ones where it's 3 rows back and each row has like 7 people. Yeah. And so, but it was weird because the person who was getting us and making sure that we were strapped in took his sweet time. And it was kind of fun in the sense he was like joking around with us, but he wasted a huge amount of time. That ride can go a lot faster. I mean, it was as long as however it's been, maybe 20 minutes. Okay. It's supposed to be a 70-minute wait though.
So it was worth it with the premium. Once again.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's worth it, but it depends on how much you hate lines. So
at that point, it was lunchtime and we were hungry with a capital H. We loved the area with the restaurants at the Walt Disney Studios, but unfortunately, all of those restaurants were booked. Apparently, things book up like, days, weeks, even sometimes months in advance. So that was a big L for us. We did end up going to Disney Village, as I mentioned earlier, and we were able to get seated in not too much of time, but that food was just really not great. Unfortunate experience. But later on in the day, I'll show you, we were able to eat at Disneyland at one of, the quicker service locations. But anyways, we really loved the theming in this area. We would have loved to eat here, but before we went to lunch, we decided to head to the Ratatouille ride and see if it was worth all the hype.
So I've had a couple people recommend the Ratatouille ride.
Remember, food always comes to those who love to cook, but not to those who are late to dinner.
Wow, this looks like a very similar setup, like almost identical, that dark trackless technology, Disney. You excited?
I am excited.
I'm excited too. Oh, look at the little face. No tracks. Yeah.
Vous serez toujours les bienvenus, cher ami. À bientôt et bon appétit. Oui, non?
You're kidding.
That's it.
You're kidding.
That's the magic.
Dude,
That's the magic, baby.
They don't even know what they're missing out on.
That's the magic.
They had hey. Big screens are not magic. What the hell was that? They had the dark trackless technology with big screens. It was like they cheaped out on crazy. Okay, quick thoughts on Ratatouille. It was a dark trackless ride, but boy did they miss the point of, Beauty and the Beast and animatronics. These big screens they ruin it.
Yeah, it's also just not a good ride. I mean, I understand that Beauty and the Beast cost way more than Ratatouille, but the fact that we're in Paris, Ratatouille is a Paris-based movie, and that's their Ratatouille ride is kind of embarrassing. I think it's just simply they should have gone for a track ride, and I just don't think it's a good ride.
Yeah. But the setup was so similar to Beauty and the Beast. Even like the spots and the numbers in line looked the same. The little cars looked kind of similar in how they turn and stuff. I really thought we were going to have the same experience, and I was so upset when I saw those screens.
Right. Well, not only because there's these screens, and I've told you this too. I love the idea in these rides where like you're shrunken down, and that's the whole Ratatouille ride. But you never feel like you're shrunken down. And the thing with Beauty and the Beast is all the magic is done through animatronics, and it feels like you're dancing in the ride, and It's so smooth and it's so pretty. This feels janky. Everything's screens. You never feel like you're shrunken down. You just feel like you're watching a series of movies that are kind of making you nauseous at some points.
Well, that's my point, is like they got half of it right. Like they had the dark track list that's like really like kind of cool, and not a lot of people have had it. And then they didn't even use it to their advantage to do like the symphony and the dancing and the orchestrated movements and stuff. Also, for motion sick people, that thing sucked. I closed my eyes on like 3/4 of it. Wow, look at Thunder Mountain. But Thunder Mountain behind us is really great. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Nope. Hell no. Nope. Nope. Not doing it. Nope. Nope. I know myself. There's some accessories that are unique to the parks, including these little on the shoulder or on the head.
And Mickey and the Magician, it was the best part of Paris Studios. It might be the best show I think I've seen at a Disney park. It was excellent. It was very cute. They were able to incorporate so many different, Beauty and the Beast, Frozen, Lion King, I think was my favorite. And it was magical. It was cute, and it was a lot of fun. I think it was a perfect length. It was about 30 minutes, and it's my favorite part. It's my favorite thing we've done so far.
I thought the show was phenomenal. The production value and the talent of the cast was really great, and it was cool because they also spoke English. So Mickey spoke French, but a lot of the other characters spoke English, which made it a lot easier for us to follow along. But it was very heartwarming, and even had some magic, like legitimately. So we're seeing. So like I didn't film it because they told you not to, but I also don't want to ruin the magic. But like I'm not exactly like the easiest to please. I don't think I'm just like handing out, compliments to hand them out, and it was truly great. So
I think we're snobs. I think we're total snobs.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying I didn't want to ruin it for people by filming it. Also, you're not allowed to, but even if you were, so that's how much I want you to enjoy it for yourself. And also
it's for sure if you're gonna go to Paris, Disney, and you do a park hopper, which you should definitely do that.
That sold it for me though.
Yeah.
That is why I think you should, because of that show.
Yeah.
And the Avengers ride. So far, that's it.
Up next, we went on this Cars road trip, which seemed like it was just going to be a little mini tram ride, and it started out really slow. I was like, okay, this is relaxing, but kind of boring, and I'm really glad that we went on this ride because all of a sudden, it was not boring at all.
I think this is too scary.
Merci de rester assis. Please do make listing. Wow. This canyon is so beautiful and calm. Seulement en apparence. Wow!
That was unexpectedly awesome.
That was super awesome. That was I think that if they were to add, well, I don't know. It's kind of my favorite.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great.
I see why there's an actual line if there were enough people here.
Right.
This is like something you'd wait for.
Well, I hope they put like one more like canyon thing in there, And then I think this would be probably one of the best rides. This would probably be the best ride in the studios. I know. I was kind of like, this is gonna be like, what is this? And then gets super cool really quickly. Yeah.
Got you wet.
Well, and it's a cool way they do it too, having the water like hit the roof of like the thing, and like it's super cool.
Yeah, and I tried to show like how they move the ground. It was like different segments of the ground looking up and down. Very cool.
Yep.
Okay, so we did 3 hours at Disney Studios. Now we're going to Disneyland. Okay, so we just made it to Disney after having a lunch in Disney Village that was not that good. It is Halloween themed here, which I think is really fun. So we're gonna check it out. It looks so much more like a theme park. Like this legit feels like I'm at Disneyland. Oh my, like look at the landscaping. What's going on at the other place? This is beautiful. Wow. Oh, I love the Halloween themes. And this is a Monday, so crowds are probably pretty horrible on the weekend.
These are ghosts.
Yeah.
These are pumpkins. This is very themed.
I know. It's like what happened at the other place.
I love to party.
Come on, everyone! Allez! Suivez-moi, les amis!
Okay, I did Thunder Mountain. It was fine. I'm very happy I didn't sit that one out. It was fine. It was fun.
It was great. It was excellent. I think it's better than the Anaheim, Thunder Mountain.
It was really
Actually, I think
long.
it's significantly better.
It's way longer.
Best ride we've done so far. That's a great ride.
And I didn't get sick. Like not even close.
Yeah.
So
There's 3 separate belt lifts in it, which is really rare.
yeah, and when we were walking up to it, I saw the track switching. So yeah, it felt very long and a lot of in the dark and a lot of not in the dark.
Yeah.
Pretty good views. That line, we saved like at least an hour.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think it's worth going to Disney unless you can get the premium access for things. Like, just don't even bother.
Which, like, I mean, obviously not everyone can afford that, and
But then just don't go to Disney then. Like that's my recommendation. Just like don't bother. It's not worth it.
okay, this is called Phantom Manor. The spooky Phantom Manor. It definitely doesn't look like the normal one.
Now, in Paris, this is called the Phantom Manor. It's a dark ride attraction in Frontierland, and it's similar to Haunted Mansion, but there are some differences. Apparently, according to Wikipedia, it's designed to be darker in tone compared to other Haunted Mansion rides, and it definitely seemed pretty dark in there. It opened in 1992, and the attraction combines a walkthrough portion with Omni-Mover vehicles and features special effects and audio animatronics. Apparently, and I don't speak French, so I didn't realize this, but this version of the ride has a distinct plot compared to the largely ambiguous storylines of the other Haunted Mansion attractions in Disney parks.
Okay, so Haunted Mansion felt a little bit shorter than the one in California, but it was really nice.
It was great. It was a great Haunted Mansion. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was definitely newer. Definitely had some different scenes that you wouldn't see.
I think the Wild West scene was new, but it had the classics, someone sitting in your car with you and the talking head. I mean, it had the classics. It was just a great ride.
It was really nice. And we had barely any line because of the premium.
Well, now that you just heard me tell you the story of the Phantom Manor, I have to say I don't know the story behind this treehouse, but this is one of those emergent experiences that I've talked about in my other videos, that you're just walking around and all of a sudden there's a treehouse to explore, and there were even these caves as well. So it's really fun to just have something kind of random and interactive, and we really enjoyed just exploring the treehouse.
You're better off doing one day in Paris and seeing the Louvre and like doing that stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
But we did just literally get in here less than 5 minutes, Peter Pan.
because of the
So by the time we get on this ride, it'll be less than 5 minutes.
yeah. So there was a 40-minute wait for this one.
40 minutes to basically no wait because of this pass we have.
I think it was great. I think it might have been the best one we've done of the Peter Pan. It's pretty close to how Japan is. It's great. The theming's great. The ride's great. It's very short. Don't wait more than 15 minutes for it, but it's great. It's a charming ride, but it's not a 40-minute wait ride.
So like as we're talking about, it's called a premium pass, right? So it's saved us like hours and hours today. But our recommendation, and not to sound, like any certain way about it, but if you can't afford the premium, because even on a Monday, it's pretty crowded. I can't imagine if we had gone on the weekend. And so if you have a limited time in Paris and you can't afford a premium, it's probably better just to enjoy Paris, go to a world-class museum, and not have the Disney experience that I think that most people are talking about when they say they don't like Disney Paris. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I would guess that that's a big part of it. We saw something like this, and it was closed. Oh, it's a maze! Oh, it's Gaudi. It's a really good aerial view. And so this is Aurora's castle. The other one was Cinderella's castle. Sleeping Beauty, real stained glass. I like Sleeping Beauty's castle, but I also like Cinderella's in Tokyo.
This is Discoveryland or Tomorrowland in Paris, Disneyland. I think it is very good. It's nowhere near Japan, but I actually think it's significantly better than Anaheim. Anaheim is the worst, in my opinion. I think it's the worst Magic Kingdom we've been to.
Why?
Mainly around theming. I think the theming is just much better here, and so far the rides have also been fairly decent, but it's theming. It's 100% theming. The theming is just better. It's just better. And it's not even close.
Okay, I decided that I wasn't going to go on hyperspace. I heard that there's even more inversions, so I'm waiting for Jonathan, but of course they make you come out through a gift shop, which it's gotten me a few times. I've spent some money today.
Well, I went to Space Mountain, which is their hyperspace mountain. It is significantly better in every single way than Anaheim. I can't remember if we went to one in Tokyo Disney, but in Anaheim, the one that is in Paris is significantly better. Not only is the theming better all around with the ride, with the line that you wait in, all the theming is better there, but the ride itself is much better. There's actually an inversion in it. The ride feels better. It's still Star Wars themed, so that's kind of a bummer. But it still has the classical kind of feel of it though, where it's still a dark ride. But it's a much better ride. There's much more inversions, and it feels like you're going much faster. And there's actually a launch. At first, you think it's going to be a belt drive that lifts you up, but it's actually a launch that shoots you up, and it feels really cool. It feels pretty intense.
Was it good of me to skip it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was. I think it's a better ride than the Avengers ride. And it's much more rough, I think. And then I did Star Tours. I've done Star Tours a few times now, mainly because the line's never really long because people don't seem to really like it. It's a motion simulator with 3D glasses, so that's not good. And it's Star Wars. Strike 3. It's just not very good. I don't like Star Wars rides, so Star Wars plus motion simulator plus 3D, those are like the three things I like least, so I always go on it. It's a very good motion simulator. It was the exact same that I did in Tokyo Disney. In Tokyo Disney, there was a mechanical malfunction, so I actually did both versions of Tokyo Disney, and this was the second version they played for us here. And I've done it before. It's a good motion simulator, but the ride still sucks. It sucks in concept. It's just not a good ride.
Dude, this is trashy. We're literally doing this on a trash can. So when we came here, we were under the impression from the internet, which is always such a reliable source of information, that Disney Paris was no good.
Yeah.
But we've learned that Disneyland Paris is great.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, okay, if you have money.
Yes, if you have money in order to do the premium, in order to skip all the lines. And even then, I think great is a stretch. But I think it's better than Anaheim.
But you do.
I do. I think that the theming is better here. I think that there's particular rides. I think that Thunder Mountain and Space Mountain particularly is significantly better than Anaheim. But I also still, even though I think this park is better than Anaheim, I think it's significantly worse than Tokyo Magic Kingdom, unfortunately.
Don't say that so loud.
Yeah.
So what is your impression? Like, why do you think people, generally don't like this?
Well, for one, I mean, I will say what I'm reading, we've had no ability to get reservations at any restaurant, which is kind of a bummer.
Sucks.
You have to schedule it like months in advance. I mean, that's just already ridiculous.
Crazy.
And on top of that, I've heard that all the food is terrible here.
We had food outside of it, and it was not great.
Yeah. Also, it feels kind of small. I mean, we're here doing this video right now. We have to do It's a Small World. And then after we do It's a Small World, we've basically done everything. We've done Studios today, and we've done Magic Kingdom, I guess, here. And we will have 2 hours to spare.
Right. We've done 2 parks. I mean, but the parks, it really could just be 1 park.
They feel very small, for sure. They feel very small.
But I will say, I was like, the show was great at the other park, Disney Studios, but other than that, I was like feeling a little bit bummed. And then we came here, and like the theming is really great, the landscaping's great, the Halloween details are great, and I just have to put it out there too. English speaking, English friendly things are great as well. So we didn't see that in Tokyo as much.
Yeah, I don't think that really distracted from my experience from Tokyo. I mean, yeah, and that's what we're saying though. I mean, things are themed like Halloween, like autumn, and they really went all out with it. There's a lot of jack-o'-lanterns. Everyone's wearing fall colors. I really like it. And I mean, on top of that, I think that something that France probably just does well, generally speaking, is the theatrics of dancing, how the choreography worked. I thought the parade we saw today was better than anything I've seen in Anaheim. And I thought that the show we saw, which was Mickey and the Magician, was like excellent.
Now, for a Monday, it was still fairly crowded. However, with the premiere, I don't think hardly any people paid for a premiere.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think many people paid for a premiere either. And maybe because this park feels a little small, maybe there's a reason for that. But the other thing too that's worth mentioning is, like, when I go through the app and I look at the rides, like, we're just not gonna be able to do Indiana Jones today, and we weren't able to do
because it's closed.
Right, and then Crush's Coaster closed, and then Pirates of the Caribbean closed, and luckily we were able to get when it reopened. But there's a maintenance issue in this park that's happening,
Right.
and
So it's not an issue of we don't have time. We have a lot of time. It's just the rides are in and out.
yeah, exactly, and it seems like it's a maintenance thing. And as we're saying, that I think that Paris has their, Disney Studios, which is going to be like your California Adventure or your Tokyo Disney Sea. Disney Studios right now is so not worth doing. I don't even think it's worth doing a park hopper. They should just offer for free. It is by far the worst Disney park I've ever been to, and it is worse than any Six Flags I've been to.
I mean, it doesn't help that half of it's, or maybe a third of it, is under construction right now and will be. It started October of 2023. It's going to be until 2025. So what the heck? Why is it taking so long? But yeah, I mean, but the show was great.
But that's my thing. I have no issue. Like, you have to construct things. Things take a while to build, and that's fine. I think Disney right now should just make the park hopper the same cost as a single entry ticket. They shouldn't be charging for what they're doing at Studios, because Studios is terrible right now. It's awful. It's really bad.
Don't have to be so rude. No, I'm kidding. It was a bummer. I've been very revived coming here to Disneyland. I'm like, okay, but it's weird because like in Tokyo, Disney doesn't operate it, and this one they do. So what's going on next door? Yeah. You got this one down, but right. Why has the other one just been neglected almost? And it's newer.
Well, some of the stuff I liked, it's something I like about Animal Kingdom too, which is there's a lot of like little areas. I wish this park was a little less crowded, but I like the fact you can explore the castle. There's this little tree house thing you can climb up in. There's a hedge, like maze thing for the Cheshire Cat, and that stuff, I love that emergent, like you weren't even planning on doing this as a ride, and it's not a ride, it's just something you can experience.
I think this one might have had the most emergent experiences within it.
I think that might be right. There's some stuff though, when I think about, let's say, Tokyo Disney Sea, like exploring that ship alone We were like, no one else was there, and we were just exploring the ship, and like then we went up, and you can control those little boats in that like castle, like.
The lights just turned on.
Yeah, it was
the lights just turned on.
Yeah. I think the theming in this park, though, I'm very impressed. I think Disney did a very good job theming, landscaping, all that stuff. I think they did. I'm really hats off to them on this one.
So you're saying that you would want to go to Disneyland in Tokyo first, then Paris, then Anaheim is how you'd rank it for Disneyland.
Yes, that's how I'd rank it for sure. But all of those have very large separations. I don't think that this is close to Tokyo Disney, and I don't think that Anaheim is very close to this.
I think Anaheim's a little bigger.
I think it might be a little bigger. I think that Anaheim really dropped the ball by putting Star Wars Land in there. I think they should have. What they should have done is they should have gotten the Beauty and the Beast ride and put that castle in there. And that's the thing too. We did all the rides here. We did our first other trackless ride, right, which was going to be the Ratatouille ride, which Paris, right? We already talked about this, but it's Paris, it's Ratatouille. It should be a great ride. It's not. There is no ride I've ever been on that's even close to Beauty and the Beast still.
In Japan.
Yeah, in Japan. And it's the only place that has it. And it's so far above any other ride here that it's just silly. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Well, I was happy just on a personal note. Like, I was able to go on more than one ride, and some of them that I expected to get sick, I didn't, so that was really good. But the one ride that did make me feel the worst was the Ratatouille because of those stupid big screens. So I don't know if that's just the way things are going.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a general problem where it's cost cutting, and so it's way cheaper to do a screen than it is to do an animatronic, and so you see a lot of screens here where there shouldn't be screens, and it's the same thing. I like Space Mountain here better, but it's all screens, and it's a shame. It
is a shame. I also noticed way more kids than in Japan for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, this is a Monday, and there's a lot of kids here.
Yep, definitely.
And it's not like a Paris holiday, so what's going on?
Right, yeah, right. It is interesting. I think the crowd management here isn't very good. I think it's probably the same level that Anaheim is. Anaheim can cram a lot of people into a small space and make it feel not terrible, but it's not great. There's been almost no circumstances of us being in this park where we were alone. And I remember in Tokyo Disney, in Animal Kingdom, Orlando, there's all sorts of times where we look around and we're like, oh, we're alone. There's no one here, and like how nice it is. It feels like we're in a park. Here we've never been alone. There's always been many people by.
Which makes me just wonder how much worse is it in the summer? How much worse is it even on a weekend? It's got to be worse. Talk about the money. I mean, we spent a lot of money to be here. So like, let's just like get that out of the way. Like Disney in California and even in Florida is just like astronomically expensive for most people. It's like they save up, for the entire year. That's their one vacation. If you really want to have a good time here, you're going to spend double that.
Yep. We did it to ourselves. This is the most expensive single day we've had at any Disney.
How much?
Well, for 2 tickets, and we did the premium access because I just won't go to Disney if I have to wait in lines. It was $586 for 2 people. And that's only for one day. We did the park hopper on there. But
we had the time to do 2 parks in one day with time to sit and make a video like this. So was it worth saving the time in line if you can afford it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but frankly, at that price, I don't think any of these Disneys are worth it. It's an absurd amount of money that like you kind of just have to spend it and like not think about it. Yeah. It's so much that I just don't think the experience is worth it. And you think about the other things we've done in Paris that were like really amazing things, and like the whole day would cost us like with the dinner and everything like $100, and we spend a huge amount here. Is the experience really worth it? I think Disney's kind of fooled themselves with some of this stuff. I mean, we should be talking. We paid it, but like I don't like the idea. There's this idea where like everybody has to go to Disney and you have to send your kids there, else you're like your kids are missing out on something. Nah, send them to go to Yellowstone. Do something else.
But just to clarify, we paid it because we're kind of on a roll here with a Disney series, and we just were curious to see for ourselves. It's kind of like when you hear a movie's really bad, you still want to find out for yourselves why it's bad. And so this one, Disneyland Paris was actually way better than people have told me. I mean, even like random people at the airport, it's like, no, don't go there. So You know, does it beat Japan? No, but not much beats Japan. Japan's way cheaper. Their yen is, collapsed right now. So there's all sorts of variables. It's not actually ran by Disney, so that also makes it cheaper.
Yeah, but there's something else there too. And like, yes, there's an exchange rate difference that's happening.
You're talking about the people, right? The attitude, the service.
Well, there's that. There's another thing to go over. But it's also the attitude of the culture and the way that the Oriental Land Company is running it. So, like as an example, I'm waiting in line for the Tower of Terror that they have here, and I see, everything's kind of themed in the waiting line. I see this little sign, so I walk up to it, and what does it say? It says, you can buy this in the gift shop. And it's just like, oh, great. They, nickel and dime me again. And then we go, and when you look at, you're on a coaster, and then they take a picture as you're, like, going over the drop. When you go here, the watermarks they put on it are absurd. You basically can't even see the picture, and then if you get your camera out, someone's going to stop you and say, don't film it, don't film it. I don't think there was never any point when I was in Tokyo Disney where I felt like I was getting nickel and dimed. And I understand that these are companies, but when you spend $300 a person basically to come to here, just don't nickel and dime me all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's just in bad taste.
Yeah.
And
Well, you were on that ride because I thought it was going to make me sick, and you said it probably would have. I was in the store buying $40 worth of cute little magnets for the fridge, which is a lot. And then I said, "Oh, can I get a bag?" And without even saying it's extra, is that okay? She just tacked on $250, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of my issue with some of the way that these Disneys are being run outside of Tokyo, and why Tokyo is so much better is that like you feel like as a consumer, and I get that I'm just a consumer to this corporation, that like they aren't just nickel and diming you at all times, and that's fine that this is expensive, but to feel like, oh, it's just not expensive enough, they just need to pull that last $20 out of you, it just makes you feel like dirt doing this.
Well, and this is just like a very side note, but we're staying at a hotel that, we took a shuttle for, so it's like a 30-minute walk. The Disney Premier Hotel is like $1,500 a night. $1,500 for a Monday night. $1,500. So that blows my mind. But, I'm glad that we came. I'm glad that we only kept it to one day. In Tokyo, we were wanting to go back the next day to the other park, and it was enough to spend 2 days, whereas this one, you can do it in one day. But is it worth coming if you haven't seen the Eiffel Tower, if you haven't seen the Louvre, if you haven't seen the catacombs, if you haven't seen the Arc de Triomphe? No.
Right.
Probably not.
Right. I mean, yeah.
No way.
I mean, but I'm of the mindset too of like I would like to support a social revolution to say, just people can kind of just, if you don't think, like if it makes you uncomfortable spending this much money, just stop going to these. People need to stop going to these parks until they clean up their act and run it like Tokyo, because to me it's like they pushed it too far at this point. And we're ones to speak. We were going here. But I will say, my willingness to go to ones back in America has significantly diminished because I know what it could be, and I know like that feeling of Disney magic is like you can make it, just America kind of chooses not to.
I think the only one I'd want to go back to in America is Animal Kingdom because it's a zoo.
Yeah, because it feels like a park. Because it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. I agree completely with that.
But not to be negative, we're having fun, and would you like to go on a Small World now?
Yeah. Well, Small World's always been my favorite ride, so we'll see how they do.
Okay, the only food that we've been able to get. Freaking marshmallows and candy apple.
Thank you for your understanding.
Upper low.
Dude, I didn't know until recently I love candy apple. Trying the turkey.
$50 worth of food.
Would I like it?
Yeah.
Okay, I just can't stop filming, but I feel like we should talk about the food. I don't have my mics. He's saying that these are better than the candy apples. He's wrong.
It's very good. It's Nutella.
Candy apples are better. But the food that we got, we tried an extra sandwich just in case. But about $50. but the food wasn't bad.
$50, 3 sandwiches, 1 donut, and 2 drinks isn't a bad price for Disney. And honestly, I really liked it.
I really liked it too. I was surprised. I was very surprised. So, and it didn't take that long. So there are options.
Joy and imagination to shine into our hearts. Aujourd'hui, la parade revient. Today, the parade returns.
Disneyland Paris est fier de vous présenter son extraordinaire festival. Son marché nocturne est un chantement dans une féerie de milliers de lumières sur une musique électro-synthé-magnétique. The Disney Electrical Sky Parade.
Okay, let me do it again.